My name's Tracy. I am the summer and winter chef this year here at Scott Base. The food here is good. I mean, you get fed often, regularly. We try and do our best to keep a supply of fresh fruit and produce coming in and keep the diet as varied as possible. So, yeah, I think most people are pretty happy with what they've got to eat here. Everyone registers their dietary requirements before they come down here, so we have a fairly good idea. If you have put your details in right, we'll know who's coming, when they're arriving, when they're leaving, and what they need. So probably our main ones are sort of gluten, dairy-free, and vegetarian that we get. We usually have at least one gluten-free person on base, and we usually try and make alternatives for that person or cook things that are already gluten-free. Vegetarian, there's always going to be a vegetarian option every day for the vegetarians, whether there's one for the whole base as well, or whether it's just a portion controlled thing for the 2 or 3 people that we need to cater for. That varies. It's a pretty well equipped kitchen, so pretty much, you know, it's your standard. You bring your own knives usually, and that's about it. And if there's something you find a bit wanting here, like if there's a piece of equipment they don't have, they're pretty good at supplying what you want and need for the kitchen here. I guess it's a communal living sort of environment. So I think the biggest thing is that everyone's sort of responsible for themselves here, and if people pick up after themselves and are considerate of others, that's probably the most important thing in all areas of the base, but in particular in the kitchen and dining rooms. We rotate between 2 shifts. There's a morning shift which will start at 6 a.m. and you pretty much just make sure all the breakfast stuff is out, cook some morning tea or smoko for the base staff and the engineer crew, and then you'll do lunch and then pack up lunch, and that's pretty much it, maybe some baking in the afternoon. So that's 1 week, and then the second week you'd do dinners. So dinner's pretty much what it sounds like. You start at about 11 a.m, prep and cook dinner and dessert for everybody and put that out and clean that up and help guide the volunteers into sorting out the kitchen in the evenings. Around Christmas and that, it sort of drops down to as low as around the 50 mark. Most of the rest of the season it rotates between about 70 and 80 most of the time. In winter, the general number is 10 to 12, but this year we've got a refurbishment project going on, so we're looking at 16 to 26. There's limited amounts of times of the year or times that you can get certain products in, like your dry stores and your frozen come in once a year. So things like cheeses and sour cream and cream cheese have all got to be frozen and then re-energized depending on what product it is. And during winter and summer, there's limited amounts of fresh produce coming in. So sometimes we'll get a good run of it and we'll have a great variety, and other times we have to get a bit more inventive with what we're putting out, because there might not be lettuce and cucumbers and tomatoes and carrots. So yeah, there's a certain amount of restriction as far as biohazards go as well. So some vegetables we can't get in fresh, like broccoli, for example, or leeks, just because there's too much of a chance of bugs and whatnot coming down with them. So yeah, so there's certain restrictions, but Antarctica New Zealand's quite good at trying to find ways around giving us products that you might not see otherwise, that fill some gaps, frozen avocados, frozen leeks and things like that.